Welcome to this symposium, which is entitled Pioneering into the Tomorrow Together. So this is really walking into to the future and really to look at what is the potential for new ways to improve the life with people with diabetes. Um, I'm Stefano Del Prato. I'm a diabetologist. I'm a professor of endocrinology at the University of Pisa. And it's my great pleasure to share the floor with a distinguished speaker and very good friends, but even more, to share the discussion with all of you that have found the time to be with us today. These are my disclosures. I've been working with many industry over my career. Now, a couple of housekeeping information. So I'm sure that you already downloaded the app for the program. So if you have not, you can follow the direction here, or you can simply take a picture of the QR code and you'll get there. And the QR code is the key because we are in a symposium. Now, symposium derives from the Old Greek. That means drinking together. We're not going to drink, but we are going to really drink about new information. And since it's a symposium, doing things together, we want you to be part of the symposium. So you can use the QR code to answer some of the questions that will be raised by our speaker throughout their presentation. And we would really much appreciate your feeling, your response through this. Now, you can try now. You can take a picture of the QR code, and there is a question which is a very important one. And the question is about who designed the Duomo di Firenze. It has been Leonardo da Vinci, Brunelleschi, Raphael, Michelangelo. All right. I mean, you're incredible. You know, you have been visiting Florence, huh? I understand that, and you got all the guide explaining to you how Brunelleschi, designed the Duomo. Although there is one curiosity. You know, you probably have been admiring the cupola of the Duomo. Now, they have not yet figured out the calculation that Brunelleschi did in order to erect that cupola. It still remains a mystery of architecture. So Brunelleschi was the architect designing it and just making that beautiful thing in the center of the town. So Da Vinci, Brunelleschi, Raphael, Michelangelo, all great names, great architect, great artists, but they are not any better than the four musketeers that we have here for our presentation. Can I move to the next one? No, the previous one. uh, the five musketeers that we have here. So as I said before, you know, I'm very fortunate to share this floor with a distinguished and very well-respected expert in the field, Professor Tadei Bartolino, Dr. Federico Bertuzzi, Dr. Yvonne Winhofer, Dr. Emma Wilmot, and Dr. Scott Harper. They will be instrumental to take us through a number of information that will really highlight the potential that we have for improving the life of people with diabetes. And we are here because, of course, we are eager to learn and to hear about them, but also because we do care about people with diabetes. And unfortunately, the number of people with diabetes is growing throughout the world. You know very well the figures. And you know that these figures is going to raise progressively. Now you can see that by 2045, the expected number of people with the diabetes is going to be close to 800 million. And my good friend today is also now suggesting and indicating how also people with pre-diabetes are at greater risk. And if you do add the number of people with pre-diabetes to this, you will overshoot the 1 billion by far of people with problem with their glucose levels. And it's not just the number of people with diabetes, you know, but the growing number of people with diabetes, this is also associated with the growing number of people exposed to the risk of complication. And what is important to really understand or reduce that risk is to know exactly what is happening for their glycemic control. It was Socrates saying, know yourself. I would say, know your glucose. because that can be a very potent guidance for treatment. And actually, connecting treatment with glucose control has been there from the very beginning. You may remember this slide here. This is, that's something that has been circulated a lot a couple of years ago because there was 100-year anniversary of the discovery of insulin, and you can see here, the beagle that has been receiving the first injection of insulin. You see the behavior of glucose, but I'd like to draw your attention here. So this page comes from the diary of Banting and Best, and if you read here, blood glucose sugar 12. Reaction to that? Injected 5 cc's. They are not units of insulin at that time, but it was the first example of how the glucose control, the glucose monitoring dictate the treatment in order to achieve the glycemic control. And this has been obtained in different ways. And what you can see here is a little box, is a paper box. It's something that I was given as a present by a friend of mine. It is a diabetemeter. It was a little box lab that allowed people to measure the glucose into the urine years ago. We are around, the 40s, 1940, or around that time. And since that time, there has been an incredible evolution in terms of how we've been monitoring glucose. It has been an incredible story of a technology advancement. You can see here from the very original one, once again, you can see the diabetometer, the color code assessment, and so on and so forth, and all the evolution, the technological evolution. And the technology is really continuing growing and growing and growing. But it's not just the technology that is evolving. It's what technology provides us in terms of data and interpreting those data. Let me give you an example. I belong to what I call the UKPDS generation. UKPDS has meant to us a very simple message. Glycemic control can be reflected by the degree of A1C that you can achieve. You may remember 7%, 6.5%, and so on. And that was a revolution for us because having an A1C was a way to try to estimate what was the average exposure to the prevalent glucose levels a person was living in. So it was the average assessment of that glucose level, average. But average is the mean among different numbers, higher and lower. Average can be that you can have the same average value, but with very much difference in terms of the fluctuation of glucose concentration in people with diabetes. Here is an example. Same glucose, same A1C, same average, but very much difference in terms of the coefficient of variation of the fluctuation of that glucose. And both the prevalent glucose concentration fluctuation may have an impact on the risk of complications. And that's now we have with the technology better way to interpret that. And Professor Battellino, with many other experts, have been championing in giving us new metrics for glucose monitoring, the timing range, and you can appreciate in the natural manner how the more the timing range is high, the better or the lower is the fluctuation of the glucose concentration. So we have different metrics that we can achieve, and those metrics have been initially evaluated and become, thanks to the work of Professor Battellino and the other experts, new metrics for judging the level of glycemic control in people. And these are also evolving. And you have heard here, some discussion about a new potential way to really get better metrics, even stricter, stringent metrics for glucose control. So we have a new potential here, and it's a potential that we wanted to bring to as many as possible people with the diabetes. I started off, mentioning the growing number of people with diabetes. I think that what is important here is also to try to make this, be sure these people can know themselves better, can know how their glucose is behaving, can know what is the outcome of the treatment they have following and they've been receiving. receiving. So it's an educated process that we needed to implement to really achieve that glycemic control that can preserve many people with the diabetes by reducing the risk of complications.